in the
This
morning.
conference will now
It's
be recorded.
7:30 a.m. Let me take a brief introduction of mine. My name is Chandra. I'm working for one of the big four companies based out of India, and I have close to 9 years of experience into IT. And from past 5 years, I've been extensively working on this Snowflake, where we used to build the solutions where we are handling the migration projects, implementation projects. All it's a mixed kind of experience what I have. Okay, that's a brief introduction about me. And apart from these technical stuff, I used to also conduct the trainings within my organization. Where we used to train the practitioners on Snowflake. It's We used to collaborate with L&D team, and we provide the trainings to them as well. Okay, so this is the short introduction of mine. I hope all of you are experienced guys before. In IT at least, not in Snowflake, but I'm assuming you guys are experienced. Can you give a quick confirmation on that?
Yeah, that
Yes,
is
Chandra.
correct. Prashant here. That is correct.
Great. Good to hear that. And before we begin the demo of Snowflake, I would like to understand if you guys have done any kind of research, what Snowflake is, how large the company is, what they are into. Okay. I would like to understand if you have done any kind of research on that. Even if not, that's absolutely fine. That shouldn't be an issue. I'll be explaining you all about that. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Chandra, I haven't done any research to assume that I'm a newbie to at least Snowflake and start from the basic.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
to IT, but Snowflake. If you can start from basic and give demo in that lines would be better.
Okay. So you're not basically from IT background, or how it is?
Yeah, I'm from the IT background. Just
Okay.
Snowflake is new to me. Yeah.
Okay. 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 That's fine. That's totally fine. I'll start from the beginning itself. No worries. But before we begin, so Snowflake was founded between 2012 to the 2014. It has announced in 2014, but it came into life in 2014. Okay, and after that, the market in India has grown extensively. Just before the COVID. Okay, when all the businesses are transitioning into the digital platforms, and just before the start of the COVID in India, it became very popular, and the most of the companies were showing interest, to transform their workload from the existing data warehousing load into the Snowflake. Okay, the reason why they are doing, we'll come to that point. We'll discuss that. But before we go into that point, let me make you understand why we use this Snowflake. Okay. Uh, the main use cases also we'll discuss why we want to use Snowflake. Uh, Before that, let me brief you difference between a database and a data warehouse. Basically, Snowflake, on a collective, on a higher level, it is called as a data warehouse. Okay, so when we talk about data warehouse, we should talk about the database as well. What makes a database and a data warehouse differentiate? Okay, so in IT, in the software world, we should there are only two type of workloads. Okay, so one is OLTP workload, which is online transaction processing systems, and the other load is online analytics processing systems. Okay, so when we talk about OLTP systems, so there are more of capturing the transactions from the customers. Okay, for example, when you go to any supermarket or any kind of ATM machines or any kind of online booking centers, so there you can find these OLTP systems. Okay, so the purpose of the OLTP systems is to capture the transaction as fast as possible. Okay, so when you go to a supermarket and you stand in a billing line, the person in the counter, he used to scan the scanner, and he'll get all the details, and he'll take only the contact number from you. Okay, so which means the product details what you scan will be entering into the products table, and the user table, I mean the information of yours will be going into the users table. Okay, so there you'll be expected to have faster write operation, Okay, that's why the OLTP systems are designed in such a way that you'll be having faster write operation. And how do we get the faster write operation is that because of the normalization techniques that we use in the OLTP systems. Okay, for example, any kind of relational databases systems can be used as a OLTP systems. Okay, you take Oracle database, you take PostgreSQL, you take MySQL, any kind of database can be used as a OLTP system. Okay, so the billing counter person will have an application to capture all the billings and all. Okay, so let me share, let me turn on my video. Okay, for that, I hope you guys are able to see me, right? Okay, that's fine. So when you go to a billing counter, any kind of retail supermarket, the application used by the person in the counter will be connected to a database in the backend. Okay, so when we talk about databases, I'm talking about the OLTP systems, the relational database management systems. Okay, so they will be capturing the data, and the data will be stored in the uh, a database, the storage provided to that particular database. But those databases will not provided with a huge amount of storage, because if your storage gets increased, your performance of your application get decreased. That's how that's how the relation, it's inversely proportional. Okay, so you always have to have a minimal amount of storage, and that's how the application or the system has been designed to handle only such amount of data. Okay, once the data limit gets reached, you have to ship all your data into some other location. Okay, to perform your analytics. Okay, that location we call it as a data warehouse. Okay, now why we use this data warehouse, why should we use this data warehouse? Okay, for example, if the Reliance supermarket or Reliance digital store, whatever you take an example, he wants to perform an analytics. Okay, he want to know how his store is performing from last 1 year. Okay, what are the products that he is able to sell fastly? What are the products that he used to concentrate on what products is getting more profit, on what products is getting less profit. How many number of persons working in that store, how much salary is going as a part of the monthly expenses and all. The Reliance person, the head of the executive or somebody at the top level wants to understand all these kind of details. Okay, but he will not be getting those details from your OLTP systems, but you'll be getting all your data from the OLAP systems. Okay, online analytics processing systems. Okay, so what we'll do is, on daily basis or a weekly basis or once in a fortnight or once in a month, what we'll do is we will ship all the data from your OLTP systems to OLAP systems. Okay, that's what we call as a batch processing. Okay, we'll ship the data to there, and we'll perform the analytics over there on the huge amount of data that we store. Okay, basically any kind of data warehouse will come with unlimited amount of storage. Okay, when I mean to say unlimited of amount of storage, it's purely based on cloud. Okay, cloud based data warehouse solutions will come with unlimited storage. Okay, we'll discuss about what data warehouses we have on cloud basis, and on-prem data warehouses as well. Okay, so we will ship all the information from your OLTP system to the OLAP system, and as per the retention policies of the organization, we will remove the data from your OLTP system. Okay, so now you have all the data in your OLAP system, and you can perform such analytics on huge amount of data, on last 1 years of data in data warehouse. So for that purpose only, we have designed this data warehouse. Okay, so when you have such huge amount of data, okay, you need to have faster read operation. In OLAP systems, you need not to bother about the write operation. Okay, but what you have to bother is about, you have to make sure your read operation is getting faster and faster. Okay, because you are reading huge amount of data there. Okay, so, uh, since I have huge amount of 1 years of historical data, my analytic will be as accurate as the head of the executive is expecting. Because from last year, I'll calculate, I'll write a SQL statement, or I'll write a Python code to calculate, the expectations from the head of the executive. Okay, so that's what we call as a business requirements. Okay, we'll get everything as a part of the business requirement documents, and based on that we'll develop our SQLs or a Python codes, whatever we are comfortable, and we will display the data to the downstream teams or head of the analytics. So we'll expose the data from our data warehouse to the downstream teams. Okay, when I talk about the downstream teams, it's like a reporting team who performs the analytics, and convert that analytics into a dashboard by using Power BI or Tableau or any kind of data visualization tool. Okay, they'll convert all our data, or the data that is available in data warehouse, into a model, and they'll represent it to the high-end officials in the company or the organization. And the other use cases, the one use case is that for reporting purpose, and the other use cases, you know nowadays, the AI is picking up very rapidly. AI is growing very rapidly, and how AI will be able to perform, give the optimized results. The more amount of data you have, the data scientist can train their models on huge amount of data set, and based on that, it can give the uh, near real time accurate results. I wouldn't say it will give the any kind of AI solution will give the accurate results. Okay, but based on the model has been trained on how much amount of data the model has been trained, the results will be near to the accurate. Okay, so we'll be exposing our data, our historical data, to the data scientists. Okay, to train their models on huge amount of data. Okay, this is another use case. Likewise, if you want to perform the real-time data analytics. Okay, so where you want to consume the data as and when we receive the data from the sources. Okay, so we can use Snowflake to perform your real-time analytics, because it comes with unlimited computational power, unlimited compute power, I would say. Okay, now I would like to take a pause here and see if you have any questions, guys. Vijaya, Prashant, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask me.
You said, see, OLTP, it's online transaction processing system, and OLAP. Can you repeat one more time? I think you said something online OL
Analytics processing systems. Okay.
analytics processing. Okay.
Yeah, so for my bad, Prashant, I forgot to mention the examples for that. The examples for OLAP systems are, when we take as a on-prem systems, you can take big data, Teradata, Hadoop. All these are on-prem OLAP systems. Okay, and when we talk about the cloud-based Redshift from AWS, AWS is having Redshift as their data warehouse solution, and Google has BigQuery, and Azure has Databricks, and Snowflake is itself uh, a SaaS application. Okay, so Snowflake is a company itself, and they have only one product called Snowflake. Okay, so these are the
Okay. Yeah, makes
examples
sense.
for all app systems. Okay.
So Snowflake's competitors are Google's. What you said, Google has a
Yes, Snowflake competes with Google Data, I mean Azure, and AWS, and it has captured the market of all these data warehouses, and currently Snowflake is the number one data warehousing solution available in the market.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Vijay, do you have any questions so far?
No, whatever questions I had, Prashant asked, but as part of Google, what was that? You said the application in Google?
BigQuery. Google has BigQuery.
BigQuery. Okay.
Yeah. So Azure has Databricks as their analytics platform, and AWS as Redshift. Okay. Initially, I've started my career
Got
on
it.
Redshift, and I got a chance to jump onto the Snowflake. That's how I started my career on these data warehousing platforms. Okay. So now, moving on to the other part. So what we do in an organization, with Snowflake. Okay. So basically, what we do is we'll be providing the data platform. Okay, we will be standing in middle between sources and targets. Okay, so for example, you are working in your company. Okay, take an example that you are getting the data from multiple sources. So when I talk about multiple sources, data sources, I mean to say, so it could be your relational database systems, like I mentioned, OLTP systems, or it could be your streaming data. Okay, when I talk about this streaming data, uh, as in when you perform some ATM transaction or any kind of web related operation, so that operations also Snowflake will be able to capture that data. That kind of data we used to call as a streaming data. So as in when the operation has happened, we will be capturing that data directly into the Snowflake. Okay, that's what we call as a streaming data. uh, so you have your streaming data, you have your OLTP systems, which will provide as one of your data sources, and some of the SFTP servers. There are a few companies, which will coordinate with the external vendors. For example, insurance companies. They'll be getting all the data into one particular server. Okay, from that server, they have to capture the data into the Snowflake. Okay, so basically what we have to do is, we have to design the pipelines, data pipelines we used to call them. Okay, we have to design that pipelines, to extract the data. Okay, to extract the data from that multiple sources. It's okay to have multiple pipelines for multiple data sources. For example, if you have 10 data sources, okay, you can design your 10 pipelines. Okay, based on your conditions, based on the different scenarios, it's okay to have multiple data pipelines. Okay, so as a Snowflake data engineer or a Snowflake, a person, it's your responsibility to design that pipelines. I'll tell you, I'll give you some techniques, as we progress into the Snowflake classes on how we can design those data pipelines. Okay, so
So,
you have to create,
Chandra,
yeah.
one quick question. So you
Mhm.
did mention about providing data to Snowflake from multiple sources, right?
Right.
And also example you took was streaming data
OLTP
for
systems, streaming
configurations.
data,
So
SFTP
yeah,
servers, from
so
Google.
where does
Yeah.
no, my question, Chandra, from data and sending the data to SFTP servers, where does the OLTP system fall in between this? You're
No.
collecting data from multiple systems and you're sending it to an SFTP server. Where does OLTP fall under?
See, OLTP falls in, when your organization has an application. For example, let's say your organization is a fitness company. Okay, your organization has a fitness tracking application. Okay, and whenever a user logs in, and the application will capture what type of activities is your user is performing. Okay. Uh, you are getting right, Vijay, what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
for
Go ahead,
simplicity,
continue.
let's take a DMart or a Reliance supermarket. Okay, when you go to the billing counter, he'll enter all the details in an application. Okay, that application will capture the data into the database. Okay, that system will call as OLTP system. Okay, that application will have a database. Okay, but here your SFTP server will not have any kind of database. Okay, it just a C drive. Just a drive that is having a D drive or E drive, or a share that is coming from a storage disk. Okay, it just sits in your data, what do you call, data center, and it will gather the data from the multiple vendors. Okay, we will be exposing the details of your SFTP server to the vendor so that they can send the data directly into your server. Okay, but here in application in OLTP system, the data is not directly getting into your database, but it is coming via a channel called an application. Okay, that's where you need to have a faster write operation, I mean, to capture your data, but your SFTP server need not to have any kind of operational fast. The only thing is your disk has to perform well. Okay, see, SFTP and OLTP both are not equivalent to each other. They are completely different. Okay, are you
Got
clear,
it.
with
Yeah, got
your,
it, Chandra. Got it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So applications, OLTP systems will have an application connected to it, and it will write the data into the databases. Okay. SFTP servers, file transfer protocol servers, secure file transfer protocol servers. Those are servers like your laptops, which are connected to a huge amount of NAS drives or something, and that will be exposed to the external vendors. Okay, who will be sending the data to you. Okay, so they'll send the data and you'll receive the data via network, and you'll be storing the data in your SFTP. Once the data is available in SFTP servers on a batch, on daily batch processing, so I'll capture the data. Okay, by our pipeline, so like I mentioned, the extract data extraction pipeline. Okay, I'll gather the data with that data extraction pipeline. Okay, so here I've mentioned three data sources as an example. What I'll do is I'll create three different pipelines. Okay, one pipeline will extract the data from your database, one pipeline will extract the data from your SFTP server, one pipeline will extract the data from your streaming sources. Okay, and after extraction, what I'll do is I'll load the data into the directly into the Snowflake. Okay, so the first copy of the data which I receive in Snowflake, what I call it as a raw data. Okay, so though it is a cleaned data, though it is 100% optimized data, so there is nothing to clean the data. So what I consider it as, a raw data. The first copy of data what I received, I treat as a raw data, and I'll assume that we have to clean the data more. Okay, and to clean the data and to apply the transformations as per the business requirements, what I'll do is first I'll transform the data in from raw layer. So raw layer is nothing but a database, a raw database. Inside the data warehouse, I'll create multiple databases. I'll show you once we progress into the classes. Okay, so I'll transform the data there. Whatever the business requirements that I'll get, based on that, I'll apply the SQL transformations on the data what I received. Like I mentioned, the example, the Reliance head of the executive wants to understand how his store is performing. Okay, so based on that, I'll write a transformation and I'll put the data in a particular database. Okay, for example, raw database to the last database, from where I can expose the data to the downstream teams. Okay, on the raw data, nobody will have the access except the Snowflake developers. But the final data is what we expose to the downstream teams. Okay, so from there they'll consume the data and they'll perform their analytics, they train their models. Okay, this is how the ELT operation: extraction, loading into the Snowflake, and from Snowflake transformations. Okay, ideally, basically, you will find ETL operations in real time. Okay, you must have heard about Informatica. talent. Okay, these are basically ETL solutions. Okay, okay, which can extract the data, transform the data, and load it into the Snowflake. But here, Snowflake, what it does is it supports both ELT operations and ETL operations. Okay, you can extract the data and directly load it into the Snowflake, and on top of that, you can perform the transformations. Or you can extract the data, you can transform your data, and directly load the data into the Snowflake. So this is how you can operate with Snowflake. Okay. So, any questions, guys, so far?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
So, our responsibilities is that to take care of your ELT operations in your real time. Okay, in real time. So, apart from the development activities, you are responsible to handle your pipelines, being a data engineer. See, when we talk about data engineer, it's a combination of development part and administration part. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's a more of administration part, but engineering part. Okay, administration is not a right word. So it's engineering. How do you do your engineering and re-engineering? Okay, that's where you have to take care your both your operations and your development activities. Okay, so moving moving on. Uh, so these cloud data warehouses, the cloud providers, what they do is, they offer their services in three ways. One is platform as a service, one is infrastructure as a service, the final one is software as a service. Okay, these are the three cloud offering models offered by any major cloud provider in the market, be it AWS, be it Azure, be it Google. Okay, so these three providers will offer their services in this manner. Okay, when we talk about platform as a service, they provide the platform that is required to run your business. Okay, for example, when we talk about platform as a service, you can take your storage, you can take your virtual machines, you can take your network, you can take the other examples as your platform. Okay, the platform to run your application, the application what I mentioned in my first case, like your fitness tracking application, it's need not to be hosted on your your on-prem server. It can be hosted in the cloud. So when it hosted in the cloud, so for any application you need 8 teams to run your application. Okay, security team, OS team, storage team, backup team, okay, server team. Okay, like that you have 8 teams, to run your application. Okay, so those 8 platforms will be provided by your cloud provider. Okay, you can have your virtual machine, okay, which we call as a elastic cloud compute in AWS, and a virtual machine in Azure. Likewise, they have different naming convention. Okay, the storage that is required for your application or server, so everything will be provided by that particular cloud provider. Okay, whatever the platform that is required, he will be providing, that we call it as platform as a service. And the other cloud service offering model is infrastructure as a service. Okay, I'm sorry, so whatever we spoke about so far, it's an infrastructure as a service. Okay, so your EC2 machines, your cloud storage, your networking, your security, everything will come under your infrastructure as a service. My bad. So got a little confused, but these are called as your infrastructure as a service. When it comes to the platform as a service, the cloud provider will be providing your data warehouses, your databases, or your OS that is required. Okay, all this kind of offerings he will provide as a part of the platform as a service. And the final cloud offering model is software as a service. Okay, this is where the cloud vendor will purchase the license from the actual owner of that what do you call that, application, and he'll provide you the access on that. Okay. For example, if you need a Windows system, okay, you need a OS in that particular system. Okay, what the cloud vendor will do is he will get the license of that OS, and he will provide you the access on to that OS. That is what we call as software as a service. Here, the cloud vendor is providing Windows OS as a software. Okay, he's providing to you. He's providing Windows OS as a software to you. Okay, that's what we call as a software as a service. And Snowflake is truly as a SaaS application. It's a software as a service application. This cloud vendor has only this service. Okay, he don't have any kind of platform as a service. He doesn't have any infrastructure as a service. But Snowflake has itself a software as a service company. Okay, they have only this application, and everything will be maintained by your Snowflake uh, from the backend. So when we take your on-prem application, for example, big data application or Hadoop application, you require a lot of things, to set up your big data server. You need to have your server design. You need to have your storage. You need to have set it up in a data center. You have to maintain that. You need a periodic maintenance of your application and your server. You have to upgrade your patches. You need to upgrade your application and everything. You will be having a lot of maintenance hectics when we go into the on-prem. But when you come into the cloud, especially any kind of cloud, be it Redshift, be it BigQuery, Databricks, or Snowflake, the maintenance will be zero for you. Everything will be maintained by a particular vendor from the backend. Okay, you need not to maintain your application. You need not to maintain your server. You need not to bother about your storage, because it's a unlimited storage that you'll get. You need not to worry about your security of your application. The only thing you need to bother is run your operations, run your analytics. That's where you have to concentrate. Okay, you need not to have any kind of server team, application team to run your application. Okay, you can directly it's a plug and play kind of thing. Okay, so I'll show you how you will be creating your Snowflake account, and how you will be uh, doing your daily operations. Okay, on that. Okay, as we
So
progress
there's
in the classes.
one question, Chandra. This
Yes, please.
Snowflake account, is it more like a sandbox or a kind of a free account, because we don't have any licenses or SaaS
Yeah.
subscribed or
So
PaaS
here,
subscribed?
Prashant, you need not to bother about any kind of licenses account as such. It's a uh, online account. How you will create your AWS account or GCP account or this thing. So you have to create an account and just use it. Okay, it's not a kind of sandbox environment, but it's a free trial that you'll be getting for 1 month, where you can practice your learnings and all. It's not a sandbox environment that is provided by the this trainer and all. It's a environment that is provided by the Snowflake itself directly. Okay.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can simply create your account, and you start logging into that, and you can do your operations. Okay. You can practice your daily learnings and all. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Vijay, do you have any questions so far?
No, Chandra, I'm good.
All right.
So the
So
presentation that you are showing here right now shows on the page one, whatever information you're talking through, is that part of the next slides?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So this is what I've spoken about so far. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Okay. Infrastructure is the delivery of the technology, like I mentioned, virtual machines, physical machines, virtual storage, network, security, and everything. Okay.
If you are navigating through your slides, it still shows slide one. I'm not sure if it is my screen or
Okay.
if
Let me share again. Let me share my screen.
which slide are you on right now?
Currently, I'm in slide one. Okay.
Okay, that's what it is showing. Okay.
Yeah, I just moved to the next slide. Cloud computation. Are you able to see? How about you, Prashant?
It still shows slide one for me. I'm not
Okay,
sure
let me
what
share
it is.
my screen again. Okay, stop sharing my screen. Just sharing it. Uh, Entire screen. Can you see now?
Yeah. Now I can see cloud computation
Okay.
task.
Yes.
It's moved.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, both of you. So this is what I've spoken about so far. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay, when we talk about infrastructure as a service, physical machines, virtual machines, storage, network, security, firewalls, everything. Okay, and build they are built accordingly. Okay, so platform as a service, where you'll be getting your databases, applications, all these kind of things, and software as a service, where you'll be getting your softwares. Okay, but they'll procure your cloud providers will procure the licenses, and they'll give you the access on that, as a part of the software as a service. Okay, so this is how we will differentiate different kind of infrastructures. When we talk about private cloud, everything will be taken care by customer itself. So for private cloud, whatever the cloud providers we're talking about so far, they are public vendors. Okay, they are not private vendors. When we talk about public vendors, they are open to customers. Okay, any kind of customers. Okay, if you want to take an account, you can use it. If Prashant wants to log in, do operations on AWS, he can log in, he can create an account, he can log in. If I want to do some operations on AWS, I can create account, I can log in and do the operations. That's how all these major cloud vendors will do. Okay, they are public vendors. When we talk about private cloud vendors, okay, we can take an example of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, that we call as. They build this cloud infrastructure dedicated, which is dedicated to their customers only. Okay, Oracle will have access. They'll provide the cloud services only to their customers only, not to the external customers. Okay, so that's how the differentiation between a public cloud and a private cloud. Okay, so on-prem based cloud computing, this is what we spoke about. High upfront cost. Okay, to set up your on-prem server, so you have to invest a lot initially. Okay, you have to procure your server. You have to design your server. You have to procure it. You have to procure the disk or storage for that server, and you have to arrange your rack. You have to arrange the network and all. It will be involved in a high upfront cost, whereas in cloud you will not have any kind of upfront cost. Okay, you just simply create your account and start using the various kind of objects that we discuss as we progress into the classes. Okay, high upfront cost. Control, like I mentioned, so you need not to bother about the maintenance of your server. I mean, maintenance of your uh, Snowflake warehouses. Everything will be taken care by your vendor from the back end. You need not to maintain any kind of applications. You need not to have any kind of downtime and everything. Okay, but whereas in on-prem, you have to take care of your server. You have to upgrade your application. You have to apply the security patches. You have to, increase the storage as and when required. So it's everything we have to take care. Okay, I mean, we in the sense the respective teams. There is a lot of dependencies on the teams. Okay, be it security team to apply the patches, storage team to apply the storage, backup team to take the backup team, and secure networking team to provide the network and all. There is a lot of dependency. Okay, but when we go to the cloud computing, cloud-based warehouses, you will not have such kind of dependencies as such. Everything will be taken care by your vendor from the back end. Okay, flexible, more flexible, like I mentioned. So So when you don't have any kind of maintenance head in your hands, it is more flexible for you to use it. Okay, so you can simply deploy a warehouse within a single button. Okay, and you can drop it within a single click. Okay, so nobody will ask why you're creating, nobody will ask you why you're dropping that. Okay, so it's your choice. When you want to create a warehouse, within a simple clicks or within a simple command, you can create that kind of flexibility that you have. Okay, and with respect to the storage wise, you need not to bother at all. It's an unlimited storage that you'll be getting with your Snowflake account. Okay, so, like I mentioned, Snowflake is a purely software as a service company, and they're providing their offerings as a this model under this model, software as a service model. Okay, so I'll be sharing this deck with you once we are done with today's demo. Okay, what are the struggles in the real world? Okay, so like I mentioned during my initial start of the class, I mentioned loading of your data. Okay, from multiple sources. Okay, so loading the data into your multiple sources, will occupy more compute power of your warehouse. Your on-prem server. Okay, at times, due to the lack of the your CPU cycles or your compute power, the data loading jobs get failed. And if the data is huge in size, it will be very difficult for you to handle that kind of huge data sets. Okay, and you'll be getting the data in multiple formats, not just in single format. You'll be getting your data in JSON format, you'll be getting your data in XML format, a CSV format, which is a structured format. Okay, likewise you'll be getting your data in multiple formats, and before loading your data into your Snowflake, you have to transform that into a tabular format, and you have to load the data into the Snowflake. Okay, but when we want to do a similar kind of operations in on-prem servers, it consumes a lot of your compute power. Okay, so that's how your Snowflake eases your loading patterns. Okay, so we'll discuss more about when we come to the real-time examples. When we perform the labs. Okay, and all, and integration. When I talk about integration, so I mentioned the different data sources, right? So you need to have integration pattern for each and every data source. Okay, for each and every data pipeline, the integration will be different. Okay, so you cannot use the same integration technique for different data sources, but same kind of data sources, you can apply the same integration techniques to integrate your data pipeline. Okay, Snowflake is very well, comes with a how we can call a more diversified platform, to integrate any kind of data sources that is available in the real world. Okay, be you name it, anything. Okay, be it any kind of data, any kind of data that is coming from any kind of source, you can easily integrate with Snowflake. But that's not the case with on-prem servers. You have to have a lot of maintenance side to integrate that. Okay, so with this I'll take a pause. I'll see if you guys have any questions.
So one question I have is
Mhm.
Snowflake, what kind of database it is?
Snowflake is not a database; it's a data warehouse. Okay, so they, like a big data, like Hadoop, like Teradata on-prem. So they have designed their own application. Okay, it will not run any kind of database particularly. Okay, so they have designed their own application to handle uh, this data. Okay, so it doesn't run on any kind of database, Prashant. It itself a data warehouse.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
sounds good. Thanks,
but
Chandra.
inside data warehouse, to segregate your data, so you can create your databases. Databases, schemas, and everything inside a data warehouse are just a logical stuff. Okay, to segregate, to keep your data clean, and segregation with respect to application, with respect to the team and all. So these are logical things inside the database. Okay, so, but when somebody asks you what's the difference between a database and a data warehouse, you should be able to explain them that database is basically used for OLTP transactions. Okay, where you'll be getting faster write operation to capture your transactions. Okay, but when we talk about data warehouses, these are designed for analytics purpose. These are more of online analytics processing systems where you'll be getting faster read operation to read your huge amount of data to perform your analytics. Okay, this is the main difference between your database and data warehouse. If you want to talk in depth, okay, we have more differences as well. Okay, basically the data in databases are normalized in structure. Okay, the data is normalized, uh, but whereas in data warehouse, the data is the tables are in denormalized form. Okay, these are basically not a data warehousing. These are basically a data warehousing concepts. I'll see if I can explain in one of the class, because these for denormalization, normalization, redundancy, all these techniques are not a part of our curriculum, but I'll try to find a class where I can explain all these data warehousing concepts. Okay, when you attend your interview, when I do an interview, so these are the basic questions that I ask, whether the candidate is having the basics of your data warehousing concepts or not. So once I'm done with that, then I'll move on to the Snowflake and then into the development. So that's how I do the interviews. Okay, so I'll give you, I'll take a session in keeping interviews in mind. So I'll explain all these concept, data warehousing concepts and all. What is a surrogate key? What is a primary key? What is a foreign key? How we relate them, and how do we do the data modeling inside the data warehousing and all. So I'll explain by taking a class, a separate session for that. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. One more question. How does Snowflake, it's a cloud software, segregate data between two different customers?
Sorry, Prashant, can you repeat your question?
For two different clients, how does Snowflake segregate data?
See, you have two different clients. Okay, so what you can do is you can create a database inside a Snowflake. Okay, customer A, customer B. Okay, but what we can do is, since we don't want to. Customer A do not want to access the customer B data, customer B do not want to access our customer B A data. So what we can do is we can make use of role-based access controls inside your Snowflake data warehouses. Okay, and you can control the access. Okay, for customer B who should be having the access. Okay, only the customers related to the users related to the customer B you can give the access. Okay, for customer A database, you can give the access to the users related to the customer A only. Okay, though their data is residing inside your database, inside your data warehouse. Okay, by making the use of these role-based access controls. Okay, so you can differentiate them. Okay, so so that customer B will not be able to access your customer A, and customer B will not be able to access customer B. They will not be able to see each other. Okay, you can do that. You can achieve that inside a Snowflake. You can have when we work with insurance vendors, insurance companies. Okay, you'll be getting such kind of use cases, so where you'll differentiate the data as per the customer wise. Okay, basically vendor wise, not the customer wise but the vendor wise. Okay, For example, I have 10 vendors. I'll segregate the data as per 10 vendors. I'll make a strict role-based access controls and masking policies as well. Okay, that is one of the feature in Snowflake, where you can apply the masking policies on your data. Okay, to have more granular level of restrictions on your data. Okay, so we'll discuss as a part of our curriculum. Okay.
And
uh,
last one, does Snowflake have any certification?
Oh yeah. So the starting from basic certification, which is a Snow Pro core certification. Okay, that is a basic certification we have to achieve to progress for the further certifications. After Snow Pro core certification, everything will be advanced certification. You'll have Snow Pro Advanced Data Engineer, Advanced Data Analyst, Advanced architect, and data admin. So these are the five types of different advanced certifications that you have. I'm a advanced data engineer. Okay, and about to pursue data architect in April month. I'm also like a
Sounds good.
certified advanced data engineer.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Vijay, do you have any questions so far?
No, Prashant is asking all the questions, so I'm good for now.
All right. Okay. So we'll stop the recording here.